our webinar here. I am Michael from BuzzTime. If I could just let everyone know, we're going to get started here in about 15 minutes. I only see one person in here. It looks like Greg is in here. I just want to say hi to Greg, and just let me know if you can hear me and how everything sounds on my end. Again, about starting in about 15 minutes, we're going to get going. I just want to let you know that we're going to get started here in about 10 minutes. If you want, just go ahead and share in the chat where you guys are from and a little bit about yourself. Um, Again, we're going to get started here in about 10 minutes. Started here in about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes, we're going to get started with the webinar here. 6 risks bars and restaurants face and how to avoid them with our partner CoverWallet. So yeah, we're going to get started here in about 5 minutes. Everyone, I just hit 11 o'clock Pacific, so we're going to get started here. Oh, hey, Brad, how are you doing? So yeah, we're going to get started here on our webinar today, which is going to be 6 risks bars and restaurants face and how to avoid them. We are, of course, joined by Abby from CoverWallet. Hey, Abby.
And thanks, Michael, for having us as a co-host.
Of course, I'm very happy to share this with you. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Just going to introduce ourselves here, starting off, and then I'm going to let Abby take the first first topic. But basically, my name is Michael Wagner. I'm the content and community specialist here at BuzzTime. Basically, here at BuzzTime, we are an entertainment company. We provide trivia, poker, different types of game experiences for bars, restaurants, breweries, barbershops, any place where you feel like entertainment can really help boost your business. That's where you'll find BuzzTime. I've been here at BuzzTime since 2016. I've worked my way up through the customer team as well as the product team, and now kind of focus on the business-to-business aspect of our business. And help create content for our blog as well as develop different communities via social media. And then I'd like to introduce Abby from CoverWallet.
Yeah, so I'm Abby Gowan, a commercial insurance advisor at CoverWallet. And for those of you who might not be familiar with CoverWallet, we are founded in 2015, and we are the easiest way for businesses to understand, buy, and manage their insurance online. Because we know insurance can be confusing, so we want to make it simple, faster, and convenient for businesses to make sure they have the coverage they need. In my role specifically, I work with restaurants and bars to help them understand their risks and make sure they have the right coverage in place. So I'm super excited to be here talking with you all today. All right, and I can jump right into the first risk then, which is issues that arise from alcohol consumption. So for businesses that serve alcohol on site, there are many issues that can arise and things can go south quickly. For example, a business can be held liable for their patrons' actions as a result of them consuming alcohol, like fighting with another customer or injuring them. But even if their actions take place in a different location after they've left the establishment, you can still be held liable. Take this scenario. A customer leaves a restaurant after consuming alcohol and then causes an accident while driving their own car or someone else's. This could result in a serious lawsuit against the establishment that the customer was at before the accident occurred. We all know that alcohol can be an important part of revenue, but it's essential to make sure you're doing everything in your ability to create a safe environment and also implement precautions to ensure you aren't over-serving anyone. Dram shop laws make business liable if they serve a patron who is clearly intoxicated, and they exist in 43 states and drastically increase the risk of businesses being sued after patrons cause harm to themselves or someone else. Okay, so what can we do to mitigate the risk about serving alcohol? The first thing would be to conduct regular trainings. Alcohol training is designed for servers and sellers of alcohol with the aim of preventing intoxication, drunk driving, and reckless behavior from patrons on and off the premise. With each state, they have different standards of the amount of server training that is required to be compliant and eligible to serve alcohol. Trainings help you remain compliant with state and local regulations regarding alcohol service. Plus, good trainings help reduce the risk of patrons drunk driving, the risk of serving alcohol to minors, and the risk of patrons causing damage to property. Finally, this is something that we are here at CoverWallet can help businesses with, is to buy liquor liability insurance. This policy covers businesses in the event of an accident, altercation, or other incident involving patrons who served alcohol at the establishment. And the insurance will protect the assets of the business if damages are rewarded in the case of a lawsuit. If anyone wants to learn more or get a quote for this type of coverage, you can head to coverwallet.com or reach out to me directly.
All right, awesome. Then I'm going to cover the next topic, which is just going to be hacking and cybersecurity for your restaurant or for your bar. Here are some of the risks that you do face as a restaurant or bar owner. Data breach, customer information, and credit card data is now on the dark web. You've lost your trust from your employees as well as your customers, and the hackers holding a ransom for that information. How does this happen? There's a lot of key ways that you can be hacked. One is using easy to break passwords. Making sure that you're using more complex as well as varying the different passwords that you use for different software seems like a pretty basic way to protect yourself, but there is still studies out there that are showing that this is something that people are still continuing using passwords like 12345, or using a last name, or even just using the bar in general. That can be a way that it's just really easy for hackers that are just sitting in your location to get into your server and then take information from customers as well as from your employees. Using the same server for free Wi-Fi that you use to store your financial data is a big no-no. One of the big things you should be focusing on is making sure that you have dedicated networks for your free Wi-Fi as well as yourself. Someone from within your company is accessing the sensitive data, so you do need to make sure that any sensitive data is being well catered for, as well as to make sure that you're seeing any issues that do deal with financial information is being handled by proper employees, and that you're making sure that you're checking on that as well. Making sure that you're using magstripe. Upgrade to chip readers from magstripe, sorry, and make sure that your PCI compliant. Mag strips are extremely easy to replicate and can often be a big issue when you are trying to make sure that you're secure. So like I touched on, here's some easy ways to really reduce the risk for your tech security. Work with an IT company to set up a secure network. There's a lot of companies out there now that are specializing in security for the bar and restaurant industry, just because there is that proliferation of free Wi-Fi as well as a lot of data being stored in bars and restaurants, that it's just a huge risk for you as a company. Make sure that you're using strong passwords and that you're changing them often, and making sure that you're not using like those simple ones that I was talking about, the 123's password, the name of the bar or restaurant. Make sure that also, just like if you're at home, make sure you're not clicking on suspicious emails. That can be a way of them sending like phishing emails where you click on a link and then basically they download a virus onto your computer and steal all your information. So that is a huge part of making sure that you're protected and that you're good to go. Also, the last one, I think this is a big one, is making sure that you're using a separate server for your free Wi-Fi, and that it is dedicated only to your Wi-Fi. Don't be using it for your business as well as free Wi-Fi, because that just opens you up to some more hackers having the opportunity to get that important financial information. And then the next risk is going to be, was a fun one that I came up with, is an angry patron goes ham with Yelp negative reviews. Worst case scenario, you have an unhappy guest and they're writing unhappy reviews everywhere. Your Google, on your Facebook page, on Yelp. You write back a scathing response and people take screenshots and it goes viral. That's something you definitely don't want to have happen. So how did this happen? It doesn't matter whether you as the restaurant or the bar messed up or the customer is overreacting. Anger creates fight or flight, and both are bad. You will be tempted to do either fight, leaving an equally nasty review of the customer, or ignoring a bad review. This is 100% how you respond. It's a very important part of making sure that that you deal with somebody that is a negative review and not just people that are the positive reviews on those different platforms. The major way to reduce this risk is the 5A model. It's authority, acknowledgement, action, amends, and ask. So down below, I kind of have a quick little uh, example of the 5A formula. So basically, you want to take authority. This this customer left a pretty scathing review, and then you basically respond with, "Hey, Kayla, this is Bobby McGee, the manager of the bar restaurant under attack. I'm so sorry." Then you're going to move on to the acknowledge. "I'm so sorry, our hostess ignored you. That's unacceptable." Then you're going to take action. "I spoke with her, reminding her of the no phone policy, and I talked with our kitchen staff about the nachos." Amends. "Your business matters to me and my staff. I'd like to make things right. Please call me directly at your phone number. And then you ask, Kayla, I sincerely apologize and ask for you to give me and my staff another chance. So all these points are basically you're building out this, you're acknowledging, or you're taking authority that you are the manager. You're acknowledging that it was unacceptable and that there is something that does need to be corrected. You're taking action. You let them know that you did take the corrective steps to make sure that they don't have that experience again if they do come into your restaurant, and for anyone else that is coming into your restaurant so they don't have to worry about that going forward. Making amends, basically letting them know that you'll make things right for them and to call you directly. You can also leave an email in here, but I think phone numbers are kind of a bigger way because people really like that voice-to-voice touch when they have had that bad experience and know that you're caring and willing to take time out of your busy schedule to speak directly with them. And then finally, you have the ask. You're asking for for them to make amends with you, as well as give you another chance to come into your bar or restaurant. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Abby, and she's going to touch base on employee injuries while they're working.
Yeah, so the fourth risk is employee injuries that you decide while they're at work. And this is an industry where a significant factor of the customer satisfaction is driven by the speed in which the product, in this case food, is delivered. And as a result, employees often have to operate in a high-pressure environment and in a rapid pace. This serves as a major risk to restaurants and can increase the chances of employee injuries. So some of the most common employee injuries, which I'm sure you have all seen, the first one being slips and falls. So according to the National Floor Safety Institute, more than 3 million employees are injured each year from slip and fall accidents. Each accident of this kind usually results with a claim of an average cost of $21,000, representing a substantial risk for restaurants. Another one would be cuts and lacerations. So more than 20% of injury claims in the restaurant are due to these cuts and lacerations. And this includes daily activities like peeling or mincing, dicing, and this is caused by equipment like knives, slicers, mixers, grinders, blenders, which significantly increase these kind of risks or injuries. And another one would be burns and skulls. Working with fire and heat in a high pressure environment can lead to spilling or splashing of hot oil, food products, and beverages, as well as contact with cooking equipment like stoves or grills, ovens. In fact, approximately 13% of injury claims are due to burn-related incidences. And then lastly, sprains and strains. These typically result from repetitive activities like lifting, bending, flipping, tripping, and they make up approximately 15% of injuries in the restaurant. So in order to mitigate some of these risks, there are some measures that you could take. One would be do a routine examination following the standards set by OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and make sure that you comply with all the requirements and include a safety program on your training. Secondly, you definitely want to make sure you properly train your employees so that they can avoid possible injuries in the workplace. This should include training on safety procedures and how to operate safely in high-pressure environments, as well as handling different types of equipment like knives and ovens. And finally, and this is required in most states, you definitely need to make sure you have the right workers' compensation policy in place. And this insurance provides wage replacement and medical benefits to employees who are injured at work. And in exchange, employees relinquish their right to sue their employer for negligence. So workers' compensation protects employers from costly lawsuits while also ensuring employees that they are guaranteed some coverage in case of illness or injury on the job. It can vary by state, and you can learn about your specific state rules on our CoverWallet website. Now I'll hand it back to Michael.
We are having a little bit of issue with the mic there. I just want to let everyone know that we do have a blog at the end, so if you did miss out on anything, it'll all be in there, as well as the recording. You can go through and read through the slides, what we were going through as well. So yeah, I'm going to touch base on possible media lawsuits. That'll be the topic that we're heading on now. So the risks. You have your ASCAP and BMI fees. You rocked out to your own personal playlist at work, and now you're facing a huge fine. Or let's say you had a watch party for the latest episode of Game of Thrones, and HBO comes at you with a lawsuit. How did this happen? You didn't read the fine print. Always read the fine print. And also, we keep things legal. I didn't know any better. That doesn't cut it in the courtroom. Here's how you reduce the risk for your music licensing. Pay your licensee fees. They can be as low as $370 a year. Train your team to never use your own personal playlists. I know, working in a bar or restaurant myself, a lot of times I'd have my servers or anyone like that was looking to play their own playlist, before we opened. And that's totally fine. But if you're going to be doing that and then eventually, let's say you open and you still have that playlist going, that could result in some big time fines for you. You can make sure commercial streaming services like Napster for Business, Soundtrack Your Brand by Spotify are also great services that you can use to utilize for your music licensing. And then finally, you need license if you do have a cover band or any sort of musicians. So you do need to make sure that you have those licenses and that you're covered in that way as well. As far as TV licensing fines, don't show anything on a TV other than in your bar and restaurant, other than like something like a Buzz Time, which is our product, which is going to be some sort of basically different entertainment. So you have trivia, you'll have poker, you'll have different entertainment options up on your TV, which you don't have to worry about any sort of fining or having any licensure. Make sure that you have anything that's like public or basic TV, or you have licensed and purchased UFC fights and boxing matches. That means you can't be doing anything from HBO, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Also, no movies should be shown from your DVD or computer. And then finally, we have our ultimate risk, the dreaded foodborne illness outbreak. You have the health inspector comes in, following up on claims that multiple people have been sickened at your restaurant. It seems to be a rising issue here in the United States. CDC reported its highest number of cases in 2018, and Johns Hopkins suggested that it costs about $4,000 if people are sick in lawsuits, in legal fees, and up to 1.9% get sick out of every 250 people. How did this happen? The FDA released a massive study back in 2018 and found the two biggest factors that needed improvement to prevent illness: cold holdings of food that need to be refrigerated so they don't grow any sort of bacteria, and employee hand washing. That can be a huge risk factor when you are looking forward to some sort of foodborne illness or some sort of outbreak. It a lot of times can come back to that employee cleanliness as well as hygiene. How do you reduce this risk? The FDA never recommends letting employees use bare hands to work, even on ready-to-eat foods. Yes, that means bartenders grabbing lemons or bartenders grabbing any sort of fresh produce. Those are also going to be areas where they shouldn't be grabbing those barehanded. They should be wearing gloves, as well as using any sort of hand washing anytime that they do have to handle any sort of produce. Cook raw foods of course, this is kind of, I think, a basic one, is cooking raw foods to the required safe internal temperatures. We know no one likes a well-done steak, but at least include boilerplate legal verbiage. Consuming raw or undercooked foods at your own risk kind of protects yourself in cases that you do have any sort of outbreak or there is any sort of issue from that aspect. And that's going to be it. We just touched on those quick 6 different risks and kind of how to avoid them. Kind of the conclusions I think we can draw from this is just making sure that you're educated. I know a company like CoverWallet is definitely a great resource if you are looking for anything in the insurance field, and just getting that consultation to make sure that you're well covered. Also, a big thing is just training. Make sure your staff is well trained, they know exactly what they're doing, and that they don't have to worry That means that even when you're not there, you don't have to worry about any issues that might arise. So yeah, I think that basically wraps up what we have planned for you guys today. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them out in the comment section to the right. We'll probably hang out here in the chat for the next 10 minutes to answer any questions, just to see what questions you guys do have. I see one in the chat right now. Isn't paying for Pandora on a monthly basis sufficient? That I'm not sure on. I'm going to look on their website right now, actually. Pandora for business. Is it for a business or is it your personal Pandora account? Because yeah, I'm looking at the Pandora for business, and yeah, the 26.95 one looks like you'd be perfectly covered. Yeah, exactly. If it's the for business one, then you're perfectly covered, because that's covering any sort of fees that you are going to have to pay for your music licensure. So yeah, you don't have to worry about anything if you have been using the for business option. The place you get in trouble with any sort of music licensing is going to be through if you're using like a personal Pandora account, like the one that maybe you pay $10 a month for. That's not going to be covering any sort of licenses or anything like that. Great question, though. Thank you.
Is this any better?
Yeah, you're coming in crystal clear, Abby.
Okay, sorry about before. Like Michael said, the information will be on the blog, but sorry you guys couldn't hear me. But I do just want to say, while we're waiting for more questions, that we are offering a free consultation for restaurants and bars right now. So if you want to go over your current policy to make sure you have the right coverages, or see if you're getting a good rate, or even if you just have any basic questions on it, feel free to reach out to me. I know my contact information will be right here. So there's my email address. You can shoot me over an email, and then I can give you my phone number as well, and we can chat about what you have and see if we can help you out.
We have here is going to be our contact information. If you do have any questions about CoverWallet or for BuzzTime, just kind of to give a quick synopsis of BuzzTime. Like I said at the beginning, we're a entertainment brand for bars, restaurants, really any business where you are bringing in people that to just have fun and kind of create a fun atmosphere. We're really focused on creating that kind of fun and enjoyable atmosphere at your business. So if you are interested in anything about that, go ahead and you can reach out to me directly at michael.wagner@buzztime.com, or you can reach me at the phone number below, and we'll be able to kind of help you out with that. So yeah, just we'll hang out for a couple more minutes. If anybody does think of any questions they have, feel free to leave them in the comments, even if it is something maybe that we didn't cover specifically in the presentation that you kind of had questions about the bar and restaurant industry. We'd be happy to answer that for you. Oh yeah, we'll be receiving. You'll get an email either to later today or probably tomorrow with a recap blog that'll have a video from today's webinar, as well as kind of break down all of the information that we kind of touched on in the presentation as well. A bar was using sliding your ID through a credit card machine of some sort. Was it just to verify your identification when you're going in, or kind of explain that a little bit more, Brad? I'm kind of curious. Yes, I'm actually. I went and checked on Amazon really quick, and yeah, there's something that you can actually buy that is just a quick scanner that'll just have the today's date as and the time, and it'll once you swipe it, it'll kind of bring up the age. You can actually get those somewhere even on Amazon, which is crazy. Yeah, like Greg said, most POS systems now, digital POSs, if you have some sort of scanner, can just verify with a map strip reader. So that is something that if your POS system they don't or it hasn't been offered to you, it's something you can call them and be like, hey, I want some sort of identification reader, and then that can be something they offer to it as well.
50 states, if that question was directed towards me. So we can definitely help you out with the workers' compensation, which is the one that would be probably the coverage with the most rules and regulations. But even with liquor liability, we can definitely help you out regardless of the state you are in. So we are based in New York and in Manhattan, but we work in all 50 states, so we can definitely help you out.
Know that there is different rules and regulations for like poker as well as trivia and different things like that. So depending on what state you're in, those are also things that we consider. So if that is something that is a concern, if you're in like maybe a state that doesn't allow poker in bars or restaurants, that is something that we take into consideration as well. But yeah, I'll let Abby touch base on your last question, Laura.
Submit that way.
Yeah, Abby, we just finally started hearing you, so you might want to restart. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with our mic, but what I was saying is it's really going to depend on the size of the business and the location, because a club in Miami is going to be a lot more expensive than a restaurant, in the suburbs somewhere. So if you have your basic information with the size and your location, the annual revenue, you could just shoot that over to me and I can get an estimate there, but it is definitely tough to just give an average price offhand. But yeah, shoot me an email and we can definitely look into it for you.
30 Pacific time mark. So if anybody does have any further questions, go ahead and leave them in chat. I'll hang out for another minute or two. But otherwise, please feel free to reach out to us via email. Also, if you want to just respond to any emails that you do get from us, we can also forward those along to the correct people as well. So yeah, we'll hang out for another minute or two. If anybody does have any questions, please feel free to reach out. it up for us today. I want to thank Abby and CoverWallet again for joining us. No, of course. So yeah, I think that'll wrap up the webinar for us today. If anybody does have any further questions, like I said, go ahead and reach out to Abby at abby.gowan@coverwallet.com or reach out to myself, michael.wagner@buzztime.com. If you do have any further questions, and like I said, you should be receiving a wrap-up of the presentation either later today or tomorrow, so keep your eyes on your inbox for that. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us and have a great weekend.